Have Kay next now, and Kay is going to be talking about bull selection.
Thanks, Katie. Hello, everybody. Just bear with me a second here now while I share my screen. Now, Katie, does that look like the correct? Does that look okay? Am I sharing
Yeah,
the right one? Yeah.
that's good to go.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so just following on from Paul, I suppose what I'm talking about here now is the bull selection. So as Paul said, the cow is one half of it, and the other important half is the bull. So you can see on the slide I have here the targets that we would have. Look, it's a personal decision, I suppose, depending on the farm and each. But as a guide, we would be selecting a team of bulls from the point of view of EBI. You were looking at a team of, at least €325. I had a look at the active bull list in ICBF, and I think there's 167 bulls available with an EBI over 290. So there's no reason to be selecting lower than that. There's plenty of bulls out there at high EBI. And then within that, you'd want to be looking at the sub-indexes. So for milk for the team, €105, and fertility greater than €135. So there's plenty of high fertility bulls readily available. And also, as Paul was talking about, looking at the milk and the milk production sub-index. So what we have here is kind of a recommended 30 kilos of solids for your team of bulls. And just be conscious, I suppose, when they're high solids, the 30 kilos plus, you need to look at the source of it as well. Is it all coming from kilos of milk, or is it coming from the percent? So just to delve into that a little bit more, if you want a cow to be able to produce 9% solids, the PTAs for 4% protein and 5% fat are 0.17 on the protein side and 0.26 on the fat side. So you can see there I have a threshold for individual bulls. That's 0.2 for the butter fat, or 0.18. So look, you're looking at that for the bull, and then as Paul alluded to, putting that on your higher, your better genetic cows and heifers in the herd will help you push towards the higher percent solids. And at the end of the day, in A plus B minus C, that's what you're getting paid on. The other one then, Paul mentioned about the maintenance sub-index. Look, I suppose try and aim for the €15. It's going to be hard to get bulls to tick all of these, but keep an eye on that one. The same way, health, as herds are maturing, it's getting more and more important. And I know ICBF are working hard towards the future and looking improving health within herds. And from the point of view of carbon, then look, we want them all to be positive. So that's the dairy bull selection. Then regardless of, what Paul mentioned, you'll be starting breeding in a couple of weeks. It's not just dairy bulls you need to look and put thought into, but also the beef. So in the last 2 years, we've actually got more beef calves coming from the dairy herd than dairy calves. And that's expected to continue. So that means there's more beef calves being bred from dairy cows. And this is down to the use of semen. There's less heifers required as expansion has tailed off. So, you need to put a bit of thought into what bulls do you use when breeding beef on your dairy herd. Your aim is going to be to produce a high quality beef calf from the dairy herd that you end up with more saleable, high value calves. I suppose the prices we're getting today won't always be there, or it's hard to know, the variation, but it is important to have a saleable, high value calf. That's going to give the beef finisher better profit at finishing, and while at the same time giving you minimal impact on calving difficulty or gestation length. And that's possible. So to look at that, you need to look at the DBI. So that's the dairy beef index. So it's similar to the EBI. That circle there on the screen is where you can see the breakdown of what's that made up of. There's a big emphasis on the beef traits within that. So the carcass weights, conformation, age at finishing. So within the DBI, you need to look at the beef sub-index. So this is similar as Paul was pointing out, with EBI, you look at milk and fertility. In the DBI, you need to look at the beef subindex, and that will then help you to select beef bulls that are going to be easy calving, short gestation, and have good carcass merit, which then will produce high CBV calves, that what the beef man is looking for, which is the higher stars that they're looking for. So it is possible to select calves with all of that, but they just for an example here, there's two bulls. They have the same DBI. They're both, bull A is 190, one bull B is 190. They've got very different sub-indexes within that. So you can see the calving sub-index in bull A is 60 euros, in B it's 15 euros. So quite a difference there. The B sub-index ticks the box. I had said, you know, have at least 100 euros of a B sub-index. Those two bulls have that. But where you would use those bulls would vary then depending on the calving sub-index and on the carcass weight. So just looking at the cow calving difficulty, bull A, and from the point of view of putting her in heifers, bull A is low for heifers, but bull B is showing up as high risk for heifers. So you need to look at that and look at the carcass weight difference. So in both cases, they're both, if they were early maturing bulls, they're meeting our criteria of at least 10 kilos of carcass weight. But bull B would be very suitable for cows, and you're getting an extra almost 10 kilos of it, or 10 kilos of a difference in carcass weight, as well as an extra gain in age at finishing. So just put a bit of thought into that you look within the DBI, and so you're looking for a beef sub-index of 100, carcass value of at least 10 kilos, and it's very possible to find that. ICBF data has shown that there's plenty of bulls less than 8% calving difficulty. At 3% calving difficulty, there's 123 bulls available on the beef active list at the moment, and they're ranging of a beef sub-index from 39 up to 136. So have a look into that, delve into it, and see that you're meeting those criteria. The other one to bear in mind, just from a practical point of view, if you're in the dairy beef welfare scheme, some farmers have got their payments this week for that. That's the 20 euros a calf, up to 50 calves. That one, the bulls that you're using, the beef bull must be genotyped and be 3 stars for DBI and 3 stars in the beef sub-index, both within and across breeds. So if you follow these criteria, that will tick the box and help you get that payment. And the other one is, if you're not using AI, you can still look up the DBI of the stock bull on the ITBF animal search. You just need to put in the tag number or the code for them, and that information will be available there. As Paul said, Martin and myself and Paul are available to guide in any of this anyway, if anybody has any questions or needs a guide on it. The other thing, so regardless of your dairy and your beef bulls, we would recommend that you use a team of bulls, okay? And that's spreading the risk. So for up to 100 cows, we would say 7 bulls, use a team of 7 bulls. Back to the comment on what Paul was talking about, reliability. So by using a team, you're spreading the risk and you're improving the reliability of that team. Between 100 and 150 cows, 8 bulls, and up to 200 cows, you need around 10 bulls. So to increase the reliability and reduce the risk. And it's important, no more than 15% of services should be from any one bull. ICBF will say, yes, plenty of herds are using teams of bulls, but when they delve into it and look at the actual usage, there's plenty of cases where one bull might be doing 30, 35, even 40% of the serve in that team, and that's pulling back down your risk. So it is something that I'm hearing with farmers and groups and things like that, and they're saying, oh, well, maybe the genomics isn't as good as we thought. But when you question them, they're not spreading the risk by using the team. So just be conscious of that one. And on that, I just have one more slide there, I think, on the use of genomic sires versus daughter-proven sires. This slide here from ICBF is showing the trend in EBI over the last nearly 10 years between daughter proven, which is the green line, and genomic and Gene Ireland, the first class ones is the blue and the purple line. And you can see consistently the progeny from the genomic sires are 30%, €30 higher in EBI. That equates to around €60. For every €1 in EBI is €2 in profit. So that's €60 more profit per daughter, and increasing your genetic gain around 2 to 3 years. There's no reason why, if you use a team of bulls and select from the highest genetics available, that you can't get the gain and use genomics. All right. So Katie, if there's any questions.
Yep, so there's one here. What contribution does genetics actually have on the herd performance?
So the performance of the herd on the ground, that's going to depend on, so genetics is going to be reliable, but at the end of the day, genetics is only part of what actually you get on the ground. Okay, so there's the management point of view. So that's going to depend on things like the calf rearing, your heifer meeting her target weights, nutrition, health. So if an animal is sick or nutrition is inadequate, you're not going to get the actual genetic potential won't be realized, is what we'll say. So ICBF estimates somewhere 25 to 30% of the genetics is contributing to the actual performance in the ground. So a good bit of it is up to, well, I have the genetics, but it's the management afterwards is going to make the difference in getting it. But I suppose the title of the team for Breeding Week was realizing that genetic potential, and that's what we're talking about. It's trying to get the genetic potential, have that right, and then we can work on the management afterwards.